Welcome, everyone, to Hops and Highways, your weekly newscast dedicated to the road building industry. My name is Jessica Lombardo, and I'm editor of Asphalt Contractor Magazine. Joined with me is Dormy Roberts, associate editor. And before we get to the news, we're going to talk about the beer we're drinking. And back to my old standard today, Busch Light. Didn't even bother to put it in a glass today because I'm not fancy. And I just felt like t-shirt, jeans, Busch Light, perfect day. Dormy, what are you drinking?
Well, today I wanted to keep it local and salute a good old Wisconsin brewery. So I am drinking Moon Man by New Glarus. It's my favorite no coast pale ale. It's hazy gold complexion with a mango tropical smell and hints of pine and malt. Super crushable, goes down easy, awesome beer.
Dormy does love her crushable beers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, everyone, we officially have a new president. Joe Biden was sworn in as the 46th president of the United States on Wednesday, and the nation is really hopeful that he's going to work to bring unity to our divided country. And one thing that he has promised during his first 100 days in office is infrastructure funding. And he plans to spend $2 trillion on infrastructure, which includes $50 billion on road and bridge repairs in his first year of office, which is huge. So elected officials, they overwhelmingly support the idea of repairing bridges and fixing our roadways, but nobody really knows how to pay for it, and that is a huge problem.
Yeah, and experts say that the most efficient way to create new revenue is to boost the federal tax on gasoline, which hasn't been raised since 1993. But that alone is one of the most politically toxic options in times of prosperity and low unemployment. So it's likely that Biden's plan will be carved into smaller pieces, and a coronavirus stimulus could provide an early win on infrastructure goals. The pending surface transportation bill, which must be renewed by the end of September, will likely be served as the backbone for a large-scale effort. So fingers crossed that's going to happen, and we will drink to that.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So this week, in his first couple of days of office, Biden set forward a flurry of regulations and deregulations, kind of sort of undoing what Trump has done over the last 4 years and putting a stamp on his presidency already. And it seemed like everyone's favorite topic was in the news this week, OSHA. Just kidding. It's no one's favorite topic except maybe your safety guys. Sorry, safety guys. We still have to talk about the impact that OSHA has in our industry, and they had issued guidelines, not standards, to protect workers from the coronavirus infection. But the incoming administration, they plan to stiffen that enforcement as well as requirements. And Biden said that he's going to ask OSHA to reconsider issuing emergency workplace standards to protect workers from contracted COVID-19. Unions, worker advocates, and Democrats, they unsuccessfully pushed the Trump administration's OSHA to issue those standards, which left employers able to kind of pick and choose the precautions from the optional guidelines.
And OSHA is authorized to set these emergency temporary standards that take effect immediately and are in effect until superseded by a permanent standard. So OSHA must determine that workers are in grave danger due to exposure to agents determined to be toxic or potentially harmful. So Biden has asked OSHA to determine whether to establish an emergency temporary standard to keep workers safe from COVID-19. Biden has said that he will direct OSHA to enforce worker safety requirements, target the worst violators, and work to increase the number of OSHA inspectors to get the job done.
Yeah, and nobody wants to be inspected by OSHA, but everybody really wants to see an end to this pandemic. So if we need more enforcers, more regulations, anything to kind of get this over with, we will drink to that. Cheers.
Cheers. Each week. So in other OSHA-related news, the department is implementing a series of 3 penalty payment letters to be sent 7, 30, and 60 days after an establishment fails to timely pay a penalty based on a final order. OSHA will also contact establishments by phone 14 days after the payment comes due. OSHA will place establishments that fail to pay these penalties on a priority list for future inspections.
To keep your company in the know, we're going to give you a rundown of the top 10 OSHA violations of 2020. So you can kind of know where your company might have a weakness with these violations and can fix them before these regulations become stiffer in 2021 under the Biden administration.
So the leading cause of death in the construction industry is falling. So OSHA statistics show falls in construction make up more than 1/3 of all private sector worker deaths. It is the employee's responsibility to set up controls to protect workers from falls associated with overhead platforms, floor holes, and elevated workstations. This involves planning jobs carefully and providing fall protection equipment to workers who are 6 feet or more above the lower levels.
Yes, next up is hazard communication. And any company that uses potentially hazard chemicals must communicate the safety and health risks to those employees. And you must also provide guidance on what to do in the event of an emergency with those chemicals. All chemicals need to be properly labeled with easily to read signs. And employers should maintain accurate records of all hazardous chemicals at the work sites and provide safety data sheets to workers and customers.
And speaking of falls, scaffolding safety plays a key role in preventing these falls. The OSHA scaffold standard requires scaffolds and their components to support their own weight and at least 4 times the maximum intended load without failing. Common causes for scaffolding accidents include plank or floor collapse, slip and falls, and defective scaffold setups. So employers should inspect scaffolding construction daily and make sure they maintain compliance with OSHA standards. This includes using guardrails or fall arrest systems for work that is more than 10 feet above the lower levels.
Lockout tagout is another big OSHA violation, and the control of hazardous energy lockout tagout standard applies to situations where starting up equipment could release stored energy and harm your workers. So lockout tagout procedures can prevent a wide range of injuries across the board. And employers should train workers on proper lockout tagout practices and procedures, and equipment and machinery should be discharged of energy or equipped with a tagout or lockout device wherever stored energy possesses a hazard to your workers. If equipment is not capable of being locked out, a formal tagout program should be created to protect your workers. Once a lockout or tagout device has been put in place, only the employee who applied the device is permitted to remove it.
And another frequently cited violation includes respiratory problems caused by breathing air contaminated by harmful dust, fog, fumes, gas, smoke, sprays, or vapors. When employees fail to practice accepting engineered controlled measures for safe ventilation or fail to provide appropriate personal protective equipment, the risk receiving an OSHA violation. And this is big in our industry because of the silica dust that is created during the milling activities. So OSHA respiratory protection standard includes a list of respiratory types and situations in which they should be used. Employees should ensure that they provide adequate PPE and employers receiving proper training on when and how to use it. This includes training on donning and doffing, or putting on and taking off of that PPE, PPE limitations, and maintenance. So employers should also create a written respiratory protection program and appoint a trained program administrator to oversee these programs.
This is a lot, Dory. Why did we pick this topic today? I don't know. We're going to have a beer break before we continue. How about that?
Deal.
Okay. Ladder safety is up next. I feel like we're talking about slips, trips, and falls, and ladder safety is huge because more than half of all deaths involving ladders occur in the construction industry, according to the CDC. And experts point to inexperienced workers or a lack of proper safety training as the main cause of accidents with ladders. So best practices include choosing the right ladder for the job, securing ladders and placing them in safe positions, and maintaining 3 points of contact on the ladder at all times.
Forklifts, tractors, platform lift trucks, and other types of power industrial trucks can expose workers to significant safety hazards. Workers who use this equipment should be certified and trained on the OSHA Power Industrial Trucks standard. Employers should provide safety belts on forklifts and require workers to wear them during operation. Loads should be wrapped in plastic shrink wrap to increase stability. One of the leading causes of accidents for powered industrial trucks is striking pedestrians or other workers. So it's important to train workers on hazard recognition and prohibit cell phone use during operation. But it's also critical to train workers on rollovers as well.
And since falls are the most common source of worksite injuries, it's not surprising that OSHA also penalizes businesses that don't comply with OSHA's training requirements for fall protection. Employers are required to provide training to any employee who might be exposed to fall hazards on the job, which includes qualified training on procedures to assemble, maintain, disassemble, and inspect fall protection systems. Workers should also be trained on the safe operation of personal fall arrest systems, safety nets, warning line systems, control access zones, and guardrails. Employers should verify compliance with a written certification record that contains the names of the employees that have been trained, dates of the training, and the signature of the employee or person conducting the training.
Workers face serious hazards when barrier guards, two-hand tripping devices, electronic safety devices, and other methods of machine guarding are not properly employed. Guards should be attached to machines whenever possible. Employees should train workers on OSHA's machinery and machine guarding standard and ensure that guards are not creating its own safety hazard. They should also provide proper equipment for machine guarding and make sure workers know the correct way to attach and detach these guards.
So another statistic from the CDC says that each day, roughly 2,000 workers in the U.S. suffer a job-related eye injury that requires medical treatment. And the majority of these injuries are caused by small particles or objects that strike or scrape the eye, such as dust, cement chips, metal slivers, nails, or drywall. Chemicals can also cause burns to a worker's eye or face. And employers need to provide appropriate PPE to prevent eye and face injuries. Guards and controls on machines can also help prevent particles from shearing off during operation. Welding curtains can prevent arc flashing, and goggles and face shields can provide even higher impact protection from that.
You can avoid OSHA violations in industries with workplace safety training. Training your crews on safety standards can also protect your business from these OSHA fines, which can add up quickly. So employees can be hit with a penalty up to $13,494 per violation. And if they fail to abate this issue, the same amount can be levied every day until the situation is resolved.
Yeah, we know, trust us, that this is not the most fun thing we've talked about so far on the show, but it's really important for you to keep your workers safe and protect both them and your business. Right now, willful or repeat OSHA violations can cost up to $134,000 per violation, and that could go up under the Biden administration. States with their own occupational safety and health plans have maximum penalty levels as well that are at least as effective as the federal penalties. So you really want to make sure you're developing an ongoing workplace safety training program because it's key to preventing these avoidable accidents, injuries, illnesses, and deaths. And we are going to drink to that. Cheers.
Well, that was a lot of information. And let's talk about something much less intense, but just as important, Build America Friday. So this week, we're going to actually talk about an asphalt plant upgrade in Southbury, Connecticut. So ONG Industries recently went live with a 1.3 megawatt solar array at its quarry on Roxbury Road, using 3,762 panels to power their GenCore 4-ton H&D batch plant located there.
Yeah, it's really cool to look at. We're going to post a picture after the show, but the solar array, it sits on 5 acres. And if it wasn't powering the asphalt plant, it could produce enough energy to power 150 homes.
Insane.
The facility is expected to produce over 1.5 million kilowatt hours of electrical power per year, which will significantly cut carbon emissions and save the company some money.
The solar array is one of many sustainable and energy-saving initiatives the company has undertaken this past year. The company is upgrading burner controls, adding variable frequency fan drives, eliminating air leaks, and installing insulation on tracks and piping at the company's asphalt plants. When the upgrades are complete, the plants will be the first 2 registered in EPA's National Energy Star Asphalt Plant Pilot Program and are expected to achieve much greater energy efficiency. So great work, ONG Industries.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I feel like energy efficient asphalt plants, they're going to become such a hot topic issue under the Biden administration, as he's really going to push sustainable initiatives across the board. So being a step ahead and really looking at areas where your company can kind of up their sustainability is only going to put you ahead of your competition and ahead of regulations that might come down the pipe and be forced on you. So we're going to try to keep you updated on that as they happen, but just something to think about. And that's all we have for you today. Thank you for joining us. Next week, we're going to be joined by Laura Williams from Lakeland Asphalt of Battle Creek, Michigan. And she's going to talk to us a little bit about her role there and her new role as the vice chairwoman of the Michigan chapter of the Women of Asphalt. We're really looking forward to hearing what she has to say about the growing Women of Asphalt group and the ladies in the industry. But until then, stay safe out there, and thank you for joining us today. Cheers.
Cheers.
Watch Hops and Highways live every Friday at 3 p.m. on Asphalt Contractors' Facebook page, or catch the replay on forconstructionpros.com/videos.